Hello, and welcome back to the CLDL Season 7 with me, GigaSaurusGames, going into Week 8, the second to last week of this season. And this week, my opponent is GDP and the Dreepy Shooters, who has basically the same record I do, give or take a little bit of differential. But I actually think, while Electric Terrain is certainly scary, I think their team is a pretty good matchup against mine. Their typing is pretty... the relative typing for them... Oh, that's an alarm message to make sure I didn't miss the scheduled start time. While I've got good offensive typings against them, I don't often have good OCO options that don't have some level of risk to them. Things like Iron Bundle clearly kills Garchomp, but if Garchomp is Focus Sashed, then I'm not the happiest. Things like that. But because I do have pretty good offensive typing matchup against them, I do think this is certainly a perfectly doable match, and so this is the team I'm bringing this week. A little more terrain dependent than I have been some weeks, so I am bringing Terrain Extender again this week as well. But I do have no defog, which could become an issue because my opponent does have Abomasnow, which can use Aurora Veil, which is why I got Arcanine here with Psychic Fangs, specifically to break any attempts to set terrain, or not terrain, set Aurora Veils and potentially other screens as well. But actually, my goal for my win con this week is actually going to be Alolan Raichu here outspeeds quite a lot of my opponent's team, just naturally. Everything except for Tornadus Therian it naturally outspeeds, other than the speed tie with Raichu. And so if I can get off a Nasty Plot, an Expert Belt Nasty Plot hits a lot of that team really hard, especially with Terra Fairy Terra Blast for Garchomp and Urshifu Single Strike. And then I've got Light Screen on Tapu Koga to try and make that setup a little bit easier. Other things to note, I've got Mixed Goodra here. Earthquake is for Raichu in case it comes. Also helps with Ceruledge to some extent. Iron Bundle. So Iron Bundle is always a 4-move Mon. It has 4 moves it runs. It runs Slip Turn or U-Turn, runs Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, it runs Freeze Dry. But you'll know that I'm not running Freeze Dry this week because if you look at my opponent's team, the only Pokemon that Freeze Dry hits harder than Ice Beam or Hydro Pump is that Empoleon. And Empoleon's a Pokemon that I don't really think it's gonna come. It's got a pretty bad matchup against me for the most part, but it does pretty well counter Iron Bundle, so it might come just for that. But Freeze Dry just does not do much to it, even though it's even as a neutral hit. It does like 10% more than Hydro Pump does, and neither is that's it basically. So I decided I'm not going to bother running Freeze Dry. I'm going to run something cheeky, and I'm going to be running Aurora Veil on my Choice Scarfed Iron Bundle to try and take advantage of my opponent if they bring Abomasnow. I probably won't use it. It probably won't come up, but what other move are you going to put, fourth move are you going to put an Iron Bundle aside from Freeze Dry? I got a Choice Specs Iron Juggos here with Terra Ground, which is going to be hitting the Raichu and the Empoleon harder with Earth Power, and so basically my win con is either Iron Bundle late game if everything's been weakened, Nasty Plot Raichu, Choice Specs Jugulis under Terrain. Those are my goals. We'll see if any of them work. I don't have great set of opportunities for Raichu. I'm basically looking at their Raichu, their Tornadus, the Empoleon, maybe the Venusaur. But that Diancie is a Terra Diancie, and kind of scaring me, if I'm going to be honest. I'm not quite sure how best to handle it. I've got Flash Cannon for it, but as soon as it Terras, who knows what it's going to be. I'm thinking it might be Terra Grass. Because I do have a Zygarde in the on my roster that I'm not bringing, because I didn't see good set of opportunities or really good things to hit with that 1,000 arrows. But 1,000 arrows does mean the Terra Flying is not the most efficient thing to bring, so I'm more expecting Terra Grass off of the Diancie. In which case, I can Flamethrower it. If it's Terra Fire for handling Steel, or Terra Steel because of the Steel moves, I've got Earthquake. And we'll see what happens. Oh, interesting, my video doesn't record my cursor. I guess that's fine. I'm not going to try and fix that now. So while I'm waiting, might as well take a look at what I'm at the rest of my prep doc. So if you look at my prep doc here, I am expecting Garchomp despite if I have an Iron Bundle, because I do have multiple electric types in Tapu Koko, Alolan, and Raichu, as well as it's good against Hisuian Arcanine and Hisuian Gudra. Whereas I actually don't see Tornado Serene coming here. It doesn't have great offensive matchups against most of my mons. It's got terrible defensive matchups against a lot of them. Tapu Koko, Iron Bundle, Arcanine, Hisuian, Alolan Raichu, Hisuian Gudra. Gudra can run coverage for it. I actually see Tornado Serene potentially not coming here, especially because I'm not a team that runs a lot of hazards, though I do have Stealth Rock this week on Hisuian Arcanine. But the bulk of Mega Venusaur means I think it's probably going to come, especially because it's not weak to Bundle's Ice Beam or Arcanine's Flare Blitz because of its thick fat ability. Though it's not going to be happy switching in on either of those. Urshifu Single Strike does so much damage, I think it has to come. Because my team lacks good defog options, it's basically Koko and Decidueye at this point because I've dropped Lando. I really feel like I have a suspicion Bombos is going to come to set Aurora Veil, which is why I've got Aurora Veil on my own Iron Bundle, because I think that's going to be the case. Along with, I think Ceruledge's priority is going to be good for my opponent if they choose to bring it. It could be running either Flash Fire or Weak Armor. I'm not sure which it thinks is better. And then one other Mon. I'm thinking likely Diancie or Empoleon, but it could also be that Raichu try and take advantage of my electric terrain with something like Rising Voltage, since I don't have ground types. Well, I have Zygarde, but Zygarde isn't coming this week. But that is where I'm at in terms of my prep doc. And so I'm just waiting for my opponent to come online, and once they are, we will be back. And we are back, and I actually remember hit record this time. So here we go. As soon as my opponent responds to the challenge. Also, because I'm thinking about it, I'm going to actually remember to post a live link this week in the CLDL server. Copy link URL. My opponent also did. Alright. So what do we got here? Garchomp came as expected. Tornadus did not come as I predicted. Venusaur did come as I expected. So did Urshifu. So did Abomasnow. Did bring Empoleon. As I said, it is a pretty good counter to Iron Bundle, so I'm not surprised by that, even though it's got not a great matchup against several other things. And they brought Diancie instead of Ceruledge, which does make sense. And that's a Terra Grass. Hey, I was right. It is a Terra Grass Diancie. Look at me getting pretty close. The only thing I missed was Empoleon instead of Ceruledge, basically. So I was trying to think last night about what my lead's gonna be, and I think my conclusion in the end was I cannot switch into a Garchomp. And Garchomp is a pretty feasible lead, so I think I have to lead Iron Bundle. It's a lot of leads it's bad against, so I'm likely just gonna be flip turning out. But in the event that I do see Garchomp on the other side, I can go ahead and Ice Beam it, or even just Flip Turn, expecting Empoleon to come in. Because I do need terrain, I can't necessarily risk Tapu Koko yet, which is the reason why that is not leaving going with. Though I did think about it, because it can Dazzling Gleam the Garchomp and so on. All right. So hello, Garchomp. Could be Focus Sashed, could go into Empoleon. I don't think those are the only worlds I see with it. I'm gonna just Flip Turn, I think. If it stays in, it's definitely sashed. It did not. It went into that Empoleon as I kind of expected. So I can go ahead and set my terrain freely now. We're gonna go ahead and U-turn again. Garchomp is a fairly likely switch in, but they might also just stay in and set rocks. If they do, I will go into Alolan Raichu and try to, well, wait, hang on. Do I set Light Screen in case the Empoleon stays in? If I set Light Screen here, it's bad against Garchomp. Ugh. Garchomp coming in is just such a problem, though. No. We're just going to U-turn. I can go into something if it stays in. Maybe that Raichu. But I don't really want to Terra yet, because I do want to have the Terra Ground option. Although, Raichu didn't come, which is one of the things that Terra Ground is for. So Terra Ground Earth Power is only really for that Empoleon. So maybe it isn't that valuable. So I could consider immediately going for Nasty Plot. Okay, but they went into Venusaur instead. Alright. I've got Choice Specs, I've got Air Slash. There are certainly switch-ins to it, but not necessarily great ones. The other option is I could go into my Raichu here and go and fire off an Expert Belt Psychic. Do I like that? I could also just try going for Nasty Plot directly. But if it's got Earth Power, it can probably kill me, so I don't love that either. No, we're just gonna go Jugulus. I did think about it, but I don't think Venusaur is a safe switch until I know what kind of set it... a safe setup until I know what kind of set it's running. Let's see here. Hurricane does a number to most things. Diance's the most likely switch-in. I don't think Venusaur is staying in. So I'm gonna Earth Power. I don't see Venusaur staying in here. I think if Venusaur staying in would be a mistake for my opponent. Because I've got Air Slot. I've run Choice Specs quite a bit this season, even if I'm not Choice Specs, it's Stab super effective move, still gonna hurt. Okay. So it'll actually live another because of its Sugar Berry, which is good to know. But at least the Sugar Berry's gone now. Do I fear you? Not enormously, but you have good switch-ins to Earth Power now. So we're gonna go ahead and go into Hisuian Gudra. Because I'm expecting a switch into potentially Abomasnow to absorb that Earth Power. And I don't think Empoleon has great options to hurt Hisuian Gudra. I'm running AV again this week, like I've done most weeks. Alright, Abomasnow did come in. So I've got Flamethrower here. I'm just gonna go for it. It's probably gonna set Aurora Veil. I arguably should have gone into Hisuian Arcanine instead of Gudra here. But we can go ahead and kill time. I don't think Abomasnow is going to stay in to take another one. And I'm not fearful of what it'll do to Sween Arcanine per se. So this might be an opportunity to go for Psychic Fangs and break his Aurora Veil. At least we're gonna try that hypothesis. That Urshifu is in the back, and I can't Psychic Fangs into an Urshifu, and it does outspeed me naturally, so it's not ideal if that's what they go into, but Empoleon came in. Empoleon doesn't scare me, per se, in terms of it being behind an Aurora Veil. So I'm actually just gonna go right back into Goodra, actually. That's fine. Spend some time burning through the Aurora Veil turns. Let's see. Last time I was in, all these scenes Flamethrower on the Abomasnow. Not like my other moves are gonna do a bunch either. My best move if Garchomp comes in is Flash Cannon. If Garchomp comes in, that's just not ideal, I think, is the answer here. Let's see, what is the answer here? I'm thinking it might be Earthquake. Okay, so Empoleon just stayed in. That's fair. I don't have ways to clear it, so Jugulis and Bundle are sad now. But I also didn't have good options for it, so we'll go ahead and Flamethrower. Well, no, Abomasnow's not going to come in on me. What am I talking about? Maybe I'll Flash Cannon. Do I like that? Kinda. It hit. If Empoleon doesn't stay in, it might. But if Empoleon stays, I'm okay with that for now, because it does burn through Aurora Veil turns. I really should have used Psychic Fangs that one turn, but it's probably fine. Flash Cannon won't do much to anything switching in, but it does more than my other moves. Empoleon might stay in, but again, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm definitely having some trouble doing damage. I really do think Nasty Plot Expert Belt Raichu is going to be the answer here. Still not entirely sure what I'm going to set up against, but that's a separate issue. I'm just going to stay in. I don't know what this is going to do to me. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do to it, to be fair. Earth Power is the most likely move, I guess. Well, yeah, it's going to be going for Earth Power, huh? I guess I can go to Jugulis. No other move my opponent has makes sense to go for here. That's got to be an Earth Power plan. No? Okay, that really wasn't his plan. Well, I'll go for Hurricane. I'm Choice Specs. I outspeed. If I hit, I might kill even through Aurora Veil. I don't actually know. But if I don't, I'd probably put it in Psychic range. I'm not going to calc. I did not expect to go for a Sludge Bomb in front of a Sween Goodra, though. I guess they just expected to switch with Fearing Earth. I guess they expected to switch Fearing Earth Power, or just a switch because I've been switching so much already. So this is not ideal, but I guess it's okay. I can switch in one more time if I don't take more damage here. Kind of expecting the Empoleon to come in. It's not like I can do a lot about that. But Venusaur might also just stay in, especially since I Earth Powered last time and it's behind Aurora Veil this time. So I'm just gonna fire off my highest base power move against this Venusaur. Hits Abomasnow, hits Urshifu. With Diancie, I switch. I miss. Yeah, That's what Hurricane does. Oh, well. Well, I need a new plan. What is the plan here? I haven't seen a Scarfer from my opponent. I'm not sure my opponent has a Scarfer. There is an option here. I could go into Coco. I could set Light Screen, die, go into Raichu and set Nasty Plot. I think that is my win con here. So if I get Light Screen up, I can probably set up on this Venusaur. And then Aurora Veil will be running out here quite soon. So Coco likely dies here. And I'm fine with that. Although it didn't do a ton to Jugulus, maybe after Light Screen it doesn't actually kill. I think it will anyway, but I don't know it does. Yeah. And Hurricane Miss was unfortunate, but it certainly isn't just auto dead. I still have quite a bit of damage potential in the back with Nasty Plot Raichu. And the thing is, once I've used Raichu and Jugulus, I no longer really care about the terrain. Nothing there is Bundle really needs a terrain. There's nothing Bundle really needs a terrain for when I'm running Choice Scarf. So I think my plan here, yeah, I do like this plan, I think. My opponent's taking a while to think here. I guess they don't... I'm guessing they don't trust this. Because Coco coming in on a Venusaur with Sludge Bomb is quite suspicious. How much would that Hurricane even have done? Since I got some time, since I've got some time to wait here. Choice Specs Jugulus against a Mega Venusaur, running the tank set, which is max HP, behind Aurora Veil. For Dazzling Gleam in case they try to go into Garchomp. Yeah, so Hurricane would most likely not have killed anyway. Okay, we learned multiple things here, including Choice Scarf Garchomp, which means I can set up on this Garchomp. I go into Raichu. I am naturally Psychic type. I go for Nasty Plot. I had Terrain Extender, so I've got several turns of terrain left. Not afraid of a Choice Scarf Garchomp locked into Brick Break. Now, I'm only going to have 4 turns of train left, so next time this Garchomp comes in, it will probably outspeed my Raichu. So I will likely sack off... I might just sack off Raichu from here. Depends on what is left after it goes on its little rampage. We'll go for Thunderbolt. If they want to go into Garchomp directly, I will let them. But I'd rather take out the Empoleon. So I got a Nasty Plot, Expert Belt, Thunderbolt, Under Terrain. Certainly kills an Empoleon. This is why I am Terra Fairy. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it and Jugulus are both... I guess my opponent didn't notice that it had a specified Terra type because they weren't looking for it during their prep presumably. I mean, they're not dead yet, certainly. I can probably kill the Abomasnow, and I certainly kill the Venusaur. Probably don't kill the Diancie. Probably don't. I kill the Garchomp, but I run out of terrain in 2 turns here. So my opponent is certainly not dead yet. Especially that Venusaur. If Venusaur doesn't die before my rampage is over, I'm gonna have trouble killing it. Though it might have trouble killing my Goodra, to be fair, because it went for Sludge Bomb last time it was in, which may have just been a switch plan. Oh, I can't. Small conversation down there. Yeah, I was noticing while rewatching some of my old recordings last night that it's kind of hard to see my chat sometimes. Alrighty, hello, Diancie. Thunderbolt doesn't do a ton. Okay, so the problem here is Thunderbolt's my best move if it doesn't Terra, but it's Terra Grass. We're just gonna Psychic. It's the best move against everything else. And I thought it might Terra. Okay, but now it's weak to Ice Beam. I'm not running... Yeah. I'm not running good moves here. I go for Ice Beam now. I should have put Extreme Speed on Arcanine. I didn't think it would come up, but it actually might come up against that Garchomp. That Garchomp means I need to keep Bundle alive. All right, Ice Beam probably 2 KOs everything on the switch at this point. Stab super effective will kill the Diancie. Stab will kill the Abomasnow in 2. Venusaur probably might have died on 2 on the switch. I don't know. Yeah. Bundle needs to stay alive. I don't have a choice on that one. Because otherwise Garchomp just wins with Choice Scarf. I'm going to Flash Cannon. I think it's my best move against anything that switches in. I am AV. think I prefer this killing. Doesn't matter a whole lot. Alright. So I have to go into Arcanine, I think. And I just have to... Well, okay. Let me do a calc here. What does Arcanine do to a Mega Venusaur? Because Flare Blitz is not super effective, but it does do half. And if I can drop it down to 30%... Ice Beam would kill. I think that's what I had to do. And now, unfortunately, the problem is... Yeah, that. But as I said, the problem is now I lose to Obama Snow. There's no way this kills. Yeah. Yeah. By the end there, I didn't see what my answer was. I think maybe I lost Jugulis a little bit too early in the match, but my opponent just has a lot of bulk on their team. I didn't have a plan for what I was gonna do about really anything aside from Raichu. And my opponent, oh, there we go. That's the match posted. Yes, it is. Cool. So I don't need to do that. And with that, I am now basically out of playoffs. I'm going to have a losing record. Although, to be fair, last I looked, the there were records with there were actually negative records in making top cut right now, though I don't expect that to stay. And apparently my opponent was running... No. My opponent apparently thought I was choice banded, but I didn't take damage on the switch in. And the thing is, even if I was banded, but even if I somehow killed Venusaur with like choice banded head smash there, my opponent brings in Garchomp, kills whatever's in front of it, and if it's Arcanine, if it's not Arcanine, I lose. If it is not Arcanine, it's Bundle, I lose. If it's Arcanine, I go into Bundle, I kill the Garchomp, and then I lose to Mama Snow all the same. So the reality is, at the end, I was dead to that Mama Snow, one way or the other. I did not see a way to handle it with the Mons I had left, given that I also had to deal with the Garchomp. And that's just unfortunate. I didn't see a solution. Well. But now that probably gets me on a top cut, which is fine. I have not played my best this season, though. I was playing okay this game, aside from that one turn with the Venusaur and the Jugulus. But since I'm now probably out of top cut, unless standings are even more surprising than I expect them to be after this week, I will probably just bring funny stuff next week for my last match, because it won't matter to me anymore, and fun stuff is fun. And so, with that being said, good game to my opponent, GDP. And until next time, I hope you all enjoyed. And this has been GigaSaurusGames, in a closer match than some of my losses this season. Signing out. Bye.